大家晚上好，欢迎来到我们园区的直播间，我是园区黑走，很高兴在这里和大家见面了。那今天是我们 Web3 Infinity Hackathon 的特别活动 VC Talk 的第一期直播。Hey guys, good evening. Welcome to the first session of the VC Talk in the Web3 Infinity Hackathon's live stream. I'm Hazel from False Community. 那我们的 VC Talk 呢，顾名思义就是由 Web3 生态系统中的 VC 来介绍投资 Web3 的方式和他们喜欢的一些项目类别，也是我们基于黑客松来给大家选择的一个特别的一个课程安排。VC Talk is a special program that will feature VCs in the Web3 ecosystem about the way to invest in Web3 and the category of project that they prefer. It is also based on the fact that we will witness the birth of new crypto stars at the hackathon, and it is crucial for the new projects to have funding and resources from investors. 那首先呢，我们的 Web3 Infinity Hackathon 作为我们新加坡峰会最强的周边赛事，目前已经是汇集了上百人来参与和报名。那在这里呢，我们也鼓励更多的感兴趣的朋友们不要犹豫，向我们投递你的作品。目前我们的报名通道已经是于7月1日正式开放了，将在北京时间8月17日23点45分前截止报名。参赛团队均可以通过 DevPost 这个平台来向我们提交符合要求的项目。Firstly, please allow me to introduce the Web3 Infinity Hackathon to you guys. As a crucial sub-event to FIL-Singapore Summit, we've already received hundreds of applications for this hackathon, and the number is still growing up. So please don't hesitate to submit your project through DevPost before August the 17th, Beijing time. And the registration portal has already been open on July 1st. All of these qualified projects are welcome to join us. OK， 那话不多说，接下来我们就回归主题。今天呢，我来为大家隆重介绍我们的 VC Talk 的嘉宾，来自 Trigger VC 的 CEO 塞汉高先生，为我们揭晓项目投融资的内幕和倾向。那塞汉高先生在私募股权、风险投资和咨询方面是已经有超过19年的经验了。投资的范围从传统行业到 Web3， 目前是亚洲区块链协会的创始成员。So now let's get straight to the point tonight. Let me introduce you Mr. Sai Hangao as the CEO of Trigger VC. We are delighted to have him tonight to talk about the insider and tendency of project investment and financing. Mr. Sai Hangao has over 19 years of experience in private equity, venture capital, and consulting, with investments ranging from traditional industries to Web3. He is currently a founding member of the Asian Blockchain Association. 那接下来我们就让 Mr. Sai Hangao 开始今天的课程吧。Now let's give the floor to Mr. Sai Hangao and the start of today's workshop. 那这边请月游来帮我们播放一下视频，感谢月游。
Hello everyone at Web3 Infinity Hackathon and FIL-Singapore. My name is Go Han from the Asia Blockchain Association, ABA. Today I'm speaking as a board member of the ABA, as well as from my experiences in venture capital, being a co-founder and shareholder of the company Trigger Capital. The subject I'll be covering is beyond ventures. So what does a Trigger VC look at beyond just investing? So these are some of the key takeaways we have for you. What is involved in Web3 asset-backed project incubation? Number 2, gaining access to industry opportunities and regulatory know-how. And number 3, area to focus on in the next 5 years. So I will cover a little about my background so you will know why I choose to talk about digital assets that are backed by real-life fundamentals. So I have 20 years industry experience. I spent 10 years in real estate consulting. I'm a chartered surveyor. and I spent another 10 years in private equity and venture capital. I started out in Sydney advising funds like AMP Capital, Colonial First State, and also asset management reporting for Qantas Airlines and also the Sydney Opera House. I did a 100-year life cycle cost plan for them. So I returned to Singapore to work on the Marina Bay Sands project. And from there, I moved into private equity to work for an extension of a Singapore billionaire family that runs ultra luxury hotels. So I am still currently helping out on the project execution portion for them. Now, in the last 10 years, it has been fulfilling as I invested time as well as money into the automotive business, F&B, technology businesses. So I saw the challenges in digital transformation of even already successful businesses that are struggling to do well in the digital space. So I've learned many lessons through some of these pitfalls, and I'm hoping that today I can share with you some of these experiences and how we can overcome some of them. So as a company introduction, Trigger was originally founded in 2011. So it started as a part-time business consultancy, and it became a venture capital and venture building company that focuses on creating value in businesses through business process re-engineering and technology innovation. So Trigger's co-founders have successfully listed companies in Singapore and India. So we have also invested and exited from numerous companies in IT, real estate, automotive, and F&B. So currently the co-founders, myself and Mr. Anthony Koh, we are the board members of the Asia Blockchain Association, ABA. So ABA is growing at 1,000 followers per month on LinkedIn. What do we say beyond ventures? Well, because we see the venture capital business requiring 3 pillars of successes. There's venture capital, venture building, and venture execution. So in defining success, I think we can look at it at defining revenue generation, at how it's profitable, and how it is sustainable, and how it is scalable. I suppose it is not possible to achieve all without appreciation of managing capital, building a business, as well as execution of plans. Now let's dive in a little deeper to define each of these. Venture capital can be a very broad term. So VC in itself it actually encapsulates to a certain extent venture building as well as execution. And that is why VCs actually also do mentoring. So VCs are very useful for branding and partnership in ecosystems. Like we were speaking with a listed company from Hong Kong, and they were looking for Web3 VCs, but in fact, they're not looking for cash investment. And what they wanted was actually a profile and ecosystem exposure to Web3. So the VC partners that they were looking for are VCs, which are already in the Web3 space. So if you look at branding and positioning, I think that is quite key in what a VC does. And typically we'll think of a VC that looks into different phases of a company startup, like from formation to seed or pre-seed, and it goes through the series A, B, C, and so on. And VC might also be able to help in working out a roadmap in terms of trade sale, IPO, or even now for SPAC. Now for venture building, so venture building is all about entrepreneurship. It is about how the business owner steers the ship. Access to the ecosystem is really important because you need to know where to get your web developers, your project managers, and also your Web3 marketing people. Now, how do we get customers, revenue, and be profitable? How do we scale? So all these are answered by looking at how do we strategize. So strategies are important because it provides a roadmap for VCs to know how you can get them to exit and how you have a clear budget to deploy those funds that you raise from those VCs. In most cases, the mentorship from the VCs comes in here because when you win, they win. Now, venture execution is often overlooked. I cannot stress how important it is to have an operational person. Most startups have a lot of ideas and are good at pitching and marketing, but the real test, as you know, is in the execution to deliver what was promised. Also, when you face challenges, how do you pivot and overcome them and still be able to achieve your revenue targets? Risk management decides whether your company make or break. For most companies and most startups, they don't actually have a lot to lose. Most of the time, the biggest loss is in confidence and losing their way. Being able to manage risk helps you to stay focused and persevere. People and business process is a big challenge. And I don't assume it is easy to just switch people over. There are normally many stakeholders who are not so easy to convert. Now, what we have on the screen is a workflow of a Web3 project. This is a go-to-market journey sample taken from our recent project, and this involves plantation as a service. The company that we're looking at is actually selling NFT trees, and they're providing both physical and digital capital gain and recurring yield. You can see from the top row, the shaded row here, that these are the disciplines and skill sets that is required for us to carry out a successful go-to-market journey. At the bottom, this timeline are the process milestones. If we follow the process milestones, taking you through them, at the start, it is first important to have proper contracts in place. And these contracts defines a lot of the delivery expectations and also to prevent any future disagreements and disputes. So at this point, it is really good to seek good advice, good legal advice. For the next step, market research, and this is very important, we realize our plantation crops that we're working on is not a commodity, and there's no public reference to the value of the crop. So what happens is we had to create our own valuation with a certified valuer and obtain an audit opinion. So this was a process that we didn't actually realize we had to go through. So doing your market research at the start actually gives you a better expectation of your timeline and the kind of resources you need to set aside to prepare for that. Next, for business process development, this is absolutely key as well. We need to do a viability study and a stress test on the numbers, as well as setting project timeline and targets at this stage. Moving forward, financial structuring is key. So for this project, we were looking to set up a fund structure under a licensed fund management company. So there are business purpose structuring that in turn drives the tax structuring and in turn drives the legal structure. And then again, that ends up with a finalized corporate structure. to derive the asset value and the yield. Moving on, due diligence is another very important step. So for this project, we had to do land title checks. We had to ensure that there is a legal right to use the land for X number of years. So this makes sure that the crops that we are digitalizing or putting them as digital assets has a physical reality to its existence in a physical form. And that physical form of a tree has legal right to be on that land for this X number of years. In terms of execution, I think we covered that earlier in venture execution, and that's absolutely important as well. For product creation and marketing, so for Web3 projects, we need to provide a white paper, as most of you would be quite familiar in that space. So especially when it deals in the areas of tokenomics. Now, the white paper need to cover the timeline launch of tokens, if they are tokens, or the NFTs. So the use of the proceeds, as well as the liquidity, and all these are important factors that needs to be shared when we create a product. So the customers, the investors will know what they're buying into. Now, finally, we have a marketplace launch. So if you're an NFT, you will need to know how it is launched. Is it a private marketplace or is it on OpenSea? So we need to also think about the actual launch itself. Will it be online or is it offline at an event? So after having gone through an example of a go-to-market strategy, now let's talk about how do we become a successful investor or a target company. We have established that having a good venture capital investor, a good venture builder, a good venture execution team is important. Now, the blockchain and Web3 community are quite young, and I would say less than a decade old for sure. So how do we gain market access to more people and find the right people? So being part of the Asia Blockchain Association, the ABA, in fact, it has helped myself and my team members open so many doors. Now, the ABA is growing at an alarming rate. So we've got 1,000 members per month on LinkedIn. We're just 2 months running in to the setup of ABA. While it is a new community, but this community is growing fast and it's headquartered in Singapore. It is scaling to have a chapter in Indonesia, in Malaysia, Thailand, Philippines, Vietnam, China, Dubai, Middle East, Africa, Europe, and even Americas. So it's only through a global community can we scale faster. And this is a differentiating factor from us being regional and global rather than just focusing within a country itself. Now, looking at one of the important points beyond having good ecosystem partners, beyond having good market access, is the regulatory knowledge. And this is especially important if you are looking at different target markets. And for that matter, a lot of Web3 projects are in fact global, or at least across a few countries. So it pays to know what are the regulatory requirements in operating in these various countries. So for example, like the cryptocurrency and digital asset regulations in Singapore versus Indonesia, or even versus Philippines are very different. If you look at the photo at the bottom left, recently we had the privilege to host the Indonesian Vice Minister of Trade, Dr. Jerry Sambuaga, at the World Blockchain Conference in Singapore. So we had a chance for a private sit-down discussion, and we explored working together on projects and creating a bridge for our members from Singapore to Indonesia, and even vice versa. So these are some of the values that ABA can bring in bridging cross-border transactions as well as projects. Now, the ABA, which is set up with 9 committees, is a very comprehensive non-profit organization. So it covers its core focus based on this acronym STEM, STEM, that stands for Solutions, Technology, Education, and Members. And it has 5 other supporting services under SPICE, Sustainability, Philanthropy, Industry, Corporate Affairs, and Events. So together, the STEM and the SPICE provides people in the Web3 and blockchain space all the support we need from the community. So I would say it is very important to round up having good ecosystem partners, having great market access, and having good regulatory knowledge, especially for the target market, is an important factors to successful investing in a Web3 project. So to round up, what's our view for the next 5 years? In a recent interview with the Straits Times, the DBS Bank CEO Piyush Gupta mentioned that blockchain will power the back office of the world. Now, first of all, with all this ongoing crypto winter, I would say the silver lining is that the crypto investors now has the chance to look at assets that are more grounded on traditional industries with strong fundamentals. The back office that the DBS CEO refers to, in my opinion, is a huge growth opportunity for enterprise blockchain. Now, currently, fintech is driving a lot of blockchain initiatives because of payment and e-commerce. But we know that blockchain is capable of so much more with its smart contract, immutability, and that it can become an extremely powerful protocol in the business supply chain and processes. Imagine when entire business processes run on blockchain, the level of accuracy and ability of businesses to scale can be multiplied 100-fold, 1,000-fold. So this will really give the chance for the old money to flow to become the new money. So how does Asia Blockchain Association play a role in this? In response to so many Web2 industry sectors and people that we've worked with, asking about blockchain and how they can get into the Web3 space, the ABA has a unique set of global industry committees. This sectorial setup of committees chaired by various sector leaders allow people from different industries to get the best Web3 advice from people in the blockchain technology who are subject matter experts, and not just people in the industry who happens to know technology. So these are focused by sectors through subject matter experts. Now, in conclusion, I would say we are living in very exciting times and getting to see the change of an era from Web 2 to Web 3. For those who missed the boat from Web 1 to Web 2, do not miss it again. So thank you very much to Web3 Infinity Hackathon, FIL-Singapore, and Asia Blockchain Association, ABA. For those who wish to follow ABA, please do scan the QR code on screen and do come up and say hello when we do meet at events. So this is Han. It's nice seeing all of you. Take care for now. Goodbye.
好的，非常感谢 Mr. Sai Hangao 给大家带来的精彩讲解。那刚刚 Mr. Sai Hangao 主要为我们介绍了以下的三个方面。那第一方面呢，是他为我们介绍了一些由 Web3 资产所支持的一些孵化项目啊。第二呢，就是如何获得行业的机会以及监管知识。啊，第三点，我们聊到了未来5年的一个重点区域和领域。相信大家听完之后，对于项目投融资的内幕和倾向已经有了更深入的了解。那 All right, thanks so much to Mr. Sehangao for giving us this amazing sharing. And here are three key takeaways of what Mr. Sehangao just shared with us. Firstly, he introduced us the Web3 asset-backed project incubation. Second is about gaining access to industry opportunities and regulator know-how. Last but not least, he talked about the area to focus over next 5 years. I believe our audience must have a deeper understanding towards the insider and tendency of project investment and financing. 那对于想要重新学习一遍，或者说错过了本次直播的朋友们呢，你们也不用担心，因为我们所有的中英双语对应的教程直播课都会上传至园地区 B 站和 Force Web3 Community 的 YouTube 频道，以供大家参考和学习。For those who want to watch it again or fail to attend in time, don't worry. All of our live stream videos will be uploaded to our Bilibili and YouTube channel, respectively, in Chinese and English. So make sure you check them out. OK。OK，那到这里呢，我们今天的直播分享就结束了。主持人要再次鼓励大家来报名参加我们的无限 Web3黑客松，分享丰厚的10万+美金的奖金。同时，也希望朋友们能持续关注我们园地区。我们的下一次直播是在本周五晚上的6点，我们的 Winners Talk，同一时间和大家不见不散。Okay, that's all for today. I'd like to once again encourage you to sign up for our Web3 Infinity Hackathon and share the huge prize of over $100,000. Meanwhile, don't forget to tune in our live stream channel. Our next live broadcast will be at the same time at this Friday. So see you guys at 6 p.m. our winners call. Okay, bye bye.